In the words of Thin Lizzy, the boys are back in town. And we got our fifth and final season of The Boys released its first 2 episodes, and I'm here to review them. Before I dive in, if you would, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell. And if you have seen the first 2 episodes of The Boys, tell me in the comment section, what are your opinions on them? If you haven't seen them, get away from this video. There will be extreme spoilers going forward in this review. I love this show. The first 2 seasons for me, I was like, okay, it's good. Season 3 and even season 4, which a lot of people are just not the biggest fans of. Personally, for me, I loved, and so I loved the last 2 seasons. I was very excited going into this one, hoping that it would work as much as the last 2 seasons would, especially with it being the final season, if it could wrap everything up perfectly. And I gotta say, we're off to a phenomenal start with these first 2 episodes, baby. This is the type of show that makes me hate that we get the 1 episode released a week, because I want to watch episode 3 now. Yesterday. Now. I want to watch it now. I want to sit down and I want to click on my TV, I want to go to Prime, and I want to watch episode 3 to see what happens, because I thought the start of this season was great. Now, episode 1 was fine. I give it 3.5 stars. I like the episode. I think it's a little slow with certain things. Specifically, certain moments where we're just with our characters and we're planning the prison break. And it starts to feel a little bit repetitive of other seasons. We're getting the gang back together. Homelander's yelling at Black Noir and the Deep. We've seen things like this before in other seasons of the show. But there were also stuff I thought was great. I thought the whole prison break sequence or freedom camp sequence at the end of the episode was a whole lot of fun. There were tons of really cool moments within this episode. But I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. It's fine. We got to talk about the ending of episode 1 first. That's like the primary thing that we have to talk about. Where A-Train, well, let's recap. So Butcher starts to get the boys back together. He gets the gang back together, and they go to break out Huey, MM, and Frenchie out of the freedom camps. Traditionally, things go very, very wrong. A-Train shows up to rescue them. He saves Huey's life, and then he gets in a fight with Homelander. Runs away. Homelander eventually catches up to them and kills A-Train. In episode 1, we already have a big major death in episode 1. And one part I'm mixed about this. I feel like we shouldn't have killed off A-Train early on. This early on. Because even like the way the episode is, he goes to the place where his family's at. And they're like, oh, well, you've saved people. You're saving us, even though you in the past haven't been the greatest hero, you've saved us. And yes, he does save Huey at the end of the episode. I just kind of wanted to see just a little bit more with his character arc throughout the season, not just getting wrapped up in 1 episode. But at the same time, like, it is just a heartbreaking death. I knew he was going to bite the bucket, or bite the dust, I guess is how the phrase goes. But I knew he was going to die from before the season even started. And it still hurts watching him die. And what I love so much about this character arc is the show starts off with him killing Huey's girlfriend and not caring. And then the rest of the season, you know, he kind of has this steady character arc where eventually he revolts against Homelander. And how it ends is he sacrifices himself for a random lady crossing the street. He doesn't make the same mistake again, which would be running over her and killing her. He essentially saves her life, and then when he's getting ready to get killed by Homelander, he just essentially tells Homelander, you're nothing, man. You're absolutely nothing without your superpowers. You are a pathetic, weak loser. And then Homelander snaps his neck. So, I guess rage baiting him worked, A-Train, you're dead. But anyways, like, it's just such a good character arc for this character that we've grown to love throughout the show. It's heartbreaking stuff. It really is. And like I said, I wish we could have seen a little bit more of A-Train throughout the season. But if you had to kill off the character, this was a really good way to do it. And a really good, just a really good character arc throughout the 5 seasons for A-Train. Earlier in the episode, other things I liked about episode 1, I really liked the Worm character, where, I mean, wow, he's a character who's writing spec scripts, he's approached by Butcher, and Butcher's like, yo, we need you to dig a tunnel into a freedom camp, so he does it, and what the Worm does is eat dirt, right? That's not as disgusting. We've seen worse in the show, and then he rips off his pants, and when he eats dirt, he poops it out. The boys are back, baby. It's gross. It's nasty. And I loved it because it's like, oh, we get a new hero, or soup, I guess is what you want to call him. But, like, very messed up. And that's what this show can do, is subvert your expectations. This show is a masterpiece at subverting your expectations. Where even take, for example, in episode 2, with Ashley. She can read minds now. And you're like, that's a pretty cool superpower. Vice President, that's a really cool superpower. And it turns out that she's got another face on the back of her head. She's got split personalities, I guess you could say. But anyways, kind of like Malignant, I guess, in a sense. You know that movie where, like, the twist was she has a separate person in the back of her head? I don't know. That was a weird movie, but it's kind of what it's like. And, like, I did not expect that at all. I was thinking the powers that Ashley's given are pretty cool, but then nobody expected it to be that, and it subverts your expectations. That's what the show can do so well. In episode 1, I will say part of the reason I didn't love it is because I was kind of getting used to the world. I don't have a lot of time. I work a full-time job and a part-time job and manage this YouTube channel, and am a full-time college student. I have a dog. Life gets crazy, right? Well, I didn't have time to rewatch 4 seasons of The Boys. So I will say for episode 1, I was kind of getting used to this world. I had to pause it within the first 5 minutes to go watch a recap and then restart the episode because I was like, there's some of this that I'm like, I remember fully now that I'm back into the world, but you know when you take a break from something, it just takes a minute to get fully back used to this world. So that's kind of what happened with me, is like the episode was kind of like a refresher episode. There were moments I really liked, but I was getting refreshed back into the world. And so maybe that's not why I fully loved the opening episode, but there were moments that were great. Episode 2, however, is awesome. Like, the boys are back. That's exactly what I want out of The Boys. That episode was great. So essentially, at the end of season 4, they have a virus. It could kill the Supes. And what this episode is we're working on testing the virus. So who do we choose? We choose this teen superhero group. The Teenage Kicks, I think is what they're called in the show. And we choose them. We go to target them. Specifically, a member called Rock Hard. And so we're going to go test the virus on him to make sure it can't affect humans, to see how powerful and dangerous it is. And so you go to him. And again, this is like how fun the show is you get an episode, you get one goal in the episode, and this is how the entire show has been, is you get that goal in the episode, and then you gotta complete the goal by the end of the episode, but like, there constantly is more issues popping up here and there throughout the episode. And so, I think the whole stuff with Rock Hard was really funny. The big twist here is that he is just massive. He's not just a normal guy made of rocks anymore. He is like a massive mountain inside of their basement. And the reason for him growing, get this, because it's the boys. Of course, it's because he let me say it how Butcher would say it. He wanks his wanker to volcanoes. That's not a good British accent. But that's going on the video because I can't do a good British accent. Yeah, he jerks off. I said it. This review series of The Boys Season 5 is going to be fun, but his residue, let's just say, expands his body. It turns rock solid, and it expands his body, so essentially his entire body is made of jizz. It's disgusting, I know, but that's what I love about the show, is that it's not afraid to break boundaries, and that is a pretty big boundary that it just broke. So, again, awesome stuff. And you also got the Teenage Kicks. You got one who's like kitty powered. You got a dude that can fly, which is kind of random. And then you got the Countess Crow. And what we're doing with her character is something I feel like I'm going to love in the show, where MM, Mother's Milk. Also, speaking of Mother's Milk, my favorite part about these first 2 episodes is Homelander, when he's about to execute them in episode 1 during the Freedom Camp sequence. He just looks at Mother's Milk and he goes, "Did you guys know his name's Mother's Milk?" Coming from Homelander, you know what his fetish is with milk? It's awesome stuff, man. And it made me laugh so hard. But anyways, Mother's Milk is, he feels bad for Countess Crow. They tie her up, about to kill her, and he lets her go. Something that I think I'm going to love is Mother's Milk's character arc. I'm already starting to really enjoy it within this, the season and these first 2 episodes. And him letting her go genuinely put the biggest smile on my face. And I know she will come back up in the rest of the show. And she seems like she could be a really interesting character. However, another thing that happens in this episode is Homelander decides enough is enough, and he opens the capsule that Soldier Boy is holed up in. And if you know, at the end of season 4, Homelander realized Soldier Boy is still alive. He's held in like a cryo capsule, like he was in the first, second season, all the time before season 3. And so Homelander has that capsule, and he decides to wake Soldier Boy up and send him on a mission. Again, a very fun sequence with Homelander and Soldier Boy having a conversation. Jensen Ackles' Soldier Boy is by far my favorite character in this entire show. He always will be. I just find the way he delivers the insane lines is awesome. Like that one sequence where he asked Homelander if he made love to him, if it was some kind of fetish thing. And just the reaction on Anthony Starr's face is awesome. Jensen Ackles, Anthony Starr, 2 fantastic performances. Speaking of Anthony Starr, his performance as Homelander is by far and away one of the greatest comic book villain performances of all time. And it's crazy how much our 2 shows, superhero shows running side by side, The Boys and Daredevil Born Again, are incredibly similar. You have 2 villain performances that are just fantastic. 3 if you want to count Wilson Bethel in Born Again. How they're some of the greatest comic book performances of all time. It's you got characters that are arresting people that they don't like, just taking them off the streets and throwing them in jail or a camp to never be seen again. It's got a lot of similarities. But anyways, Homelander sends Soldier Boy on a mission to go capture Butcher, Huey, Kimiko, Frenchie, Mother's Milk, all of the boys. And actually, he sends them on a mission to give reconnaissance, just like see him, report back. Obviously, it's Soldier Boy. He attacks him. There's a really cool conversation between Butcher and Soldier Boy. And there's this fight. He gets the kitty lady and the flying kid from Teenage Kicks to help him out. There's this cool fight scene. And I'm not going to lie, there is some pretty shoddy CGI here in this episode where the flying guy picks up Huey, drops him from the sky, and then Starlight rescues him. And I think the CGI on the sequence where she rescues him is just like an awful green screen effect. Credit due where credit's due, but the fight itself is pretty cool. But eventually, Frenchie tricks the Teenage Kicks and pours the virus on the ground, killing them all. And at this moment, I told myself, I was like, if they kill Soldier Boy in episode 2, I'm gonna be pissed. Because there's so much interesting things you could do with Soldier Boy in the final season of the show, and if you kill him off with 6 episodes left, you're kind of taking the killing off characters thing a little bit too extreme, right? Luckily, he's dead. Homelander shows up to the scene. He cries over Soldier Boy, because he's his father. And as he's walking away, Soldier Boy, laying down, wakes up. He's still alive. What could this mean? Could this mean Soldier Boy's immune to the virus, which could also mean Homelander's immune to the virus, because they're from the same blood? Or could this mean that the virus doesn't fully work and there's some soups that can stay alive? I don't know. Drop your theories in the comment section. Where I'm leaning that they're going with this is that the virus doesn't fully work. There's some things they got to work out of it, and that some soups are immune and can't exactly die. That's where I'm leaning here, but I'm very excited to see where they're going. And for that to be the final shot of episode 2 and not to be able to instantly click on episode 3 after is irritating, because I really want to see episode 3. I'm really excited to see where they go from here on out. But anyways, the first 2 episodes of The Boys Season 5 are awesome. It's not afraid to kill off characters. It's not afraid to be brutal. It's not afraid to be violent. It's not afraid to be absolutely freaking insane. It goes balls to the walls at several moments already in the season, and I'm already loving it. I'm already loving the journey. I'm already having a ton of fun watching it at home. And just by that second episode, it's where I realize, oh, this is why I love this show. This is why it's one of the greatest comic book shows out there. And I watch it, and I am excited to see what happens next. Stay tuned for the future. Obviously, I'm going to continue a review series, but I'm also going to start an after-show podcast with, I believe, the Real Hayden. Yes, it is the Real Hayden. We're going to be talking about the first 2 seasons in a live stream, giving our theories for the future. Just kind of like a Boys Season 5 after show, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. First 2 episodes of The Boys Season 5 are awesome. I can't wait to see more. I don't think there's anything else that I want to say about the first 2 episodes. Just, they're awesome. Can't wait to see what's going to happen the rest of the season. It's fantastic. Anyway, stay tuned for next week with Born Again Episode 5 review, The Boys Episode 3 review. Stay tuned for all that. With that said, subscribe.